There we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Bar Down Beauties podcast. I'm Jesse Pierce. She's Alexis Pearson, filling in for producer Fred, who was fired. If you listen to us every week, you know that he gets fired often. My cousin Emily helping us out, a Hill Murray Oh, no, you're not a pioneer. You're in North St. Paul. Well, North St. Paul doesn't sound so great, so we'll say pioneer.
We'll go with pioneer for today.
More importantly, the coolest one of us all, Natalie Darwitz, joining us. She's like my favorite. How many times do I bug you to like do something? Like, hey, you want to talk hockey again?
Bug's not the correct verbiage.
Yeah, that's fair.
I love it. No, I appreciate you always reaching out to me and keeping me relevant, I guess.
Heck yeah.
No, you keep yourself relevant. We just remind everybody, hey, she's freaking awesome. So
yeah,
here she is.
Right. Not that people need reminding, a legend in the state of hockey amongst men and women. But obviously Gopher women's hockey keeping you busy on the bench. Tell us about the season and as you guys head into the big tourney coming up.
Yeah, we've had a great season. Unfortunately, we had a hiccup on Sunday against Ohio State. We lost in overtime in the WCHA final. However, we're still the number 2 ranked team in the country right now.
Not bad.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
More importantly, we have a big game coming up tomorrow at 2 p.m. We play Minnesota Duluth. We actually played them last Saturday. We play them a week later. So it's going to make up for an interesting matchup tomorrow because they're going to certainly play better. And we got to repeat our performance of last week of playing pretty well. So the winner tomorrow will go to the Frozen Four. So obviously it's a do or die situation.
You had mentioned the number 2, and obviously we love everything Minnesota here, but I do want to talk about Ohio State.
Yep.
Number 1. I mean, how far that program has really blossomed and come. I mean, they are just such a powerhouse. What's your take on them, and how threatening are they to any team that comes in against them?
They're great. They're certainly a tough team, and I think all year long they've been hovering around 2-3, and now they finally got the number 1 spot from us last weekend. And Nadine Muzzerall, she was a former Gopher player and former assistant coach here, and as soon as she got that job, she literally took that program from kind of bottom of the WCHA to national contending team in 2 to 3 years, which at the D1 level is super, super impressive. They have a lot of Minnesota players on their roster.
That's why they're having the success, clearly.
Yes, I would agree. And those players, they play well against us too. So not being recruited by the Minnesota, not going to Minnesota, and then coming to play Minnesota, obviously there's going to be an extra little jump in your step.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we are on the other end of that last weekend. But for us right now, it's just a matter of can we play well tomorrow, get us in the Frozen Four, and then who's our next opponent. But if I had to call a prediction, we're probably the number 1 and 2 team in the nation. So hopefully it works out that way to further women's hockey and give the best game in the national championship. If that's us in Ohio State, I think it's going to make for a pretty darn good show.
Love it.
Talking about college hockey here, we're here at the Let's Play Hockey Expo, so we'd be remiss not to talk about high school hockey. Yep. You told us before we jumped on air, and I hope you don't mind me putting you on blast, that you did not pull your kids out of school to come enjoy the Hockey Expo today.
Rude, Natalie.
What kind of Minnesota hockey mom doesn't do that, Natalie?
I am really... I'm going to take ownership of this. I would
deflect the blame if it were me, but that's good on you for doing that.
This is pretty bad on my part. I just came from the Gopher practice, so I thought like it would be a long day for them.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's my excuse.
Yeah.
My other excuse is I got the other one out of school yesterday because he had a cough.
Okay.
So and we did watch it on TV.
Yes.
Okay.
So I hope I can make up for it a little bit, but I'll tell you what, next year at this time on Friday afternoon, they will be here.
You've already decided.
They will be in the audience and they will be raising ruckus for you at this booth.
And now tell our listeners how old your kids are and kind of their, how did you get them into hockey? Do they love it as much as you? Do they have your skill? Yeah. Did you pass that along?
So I have a 6 and a 4-year-old.
Okay.
Fun story that my 6-year-old is in Mite 1 in Prior Lake. He is on the same team as Coach Joe Pankratz from Prior Lake, who just won.
Yep.
So Joseph and Ryder are on the same team. We have a Mite Jamboree this weekend, which is huge in Prior Lake. We play at 5:00 tonight. I don't think Ryder Pankratz will be at that game.
No, I was going to say, now they're Prior Lake kids and they're not here.
They should just cancel the whole Jamboree.
I know, right?
So it's kind of a cool story that, Prior Lake first year obviously in it. They're in a super, super tough section. Yeah. So they're finally able to make it in and then just having an upset of last yesterday's performance against Cretan, and then the bump kid getting
Alex,
5.
ladies
oh my
and
goodness.
gentlemen. Again, going back to earlier's trivia question, John Masich, 7 goals in one high school tournament game. Alex Bump got 5. Grant Bessie, I was reminded, also had scored 5 once upon a time. Chrissy Wendell, we haven't decided, right? 8 goals maybe for one game? You think that's probably about right?
Let's just say 10. Let's just go
Let's
round up.
You know,
Yeah,
there
it might
you go,
as well.
Chrissy. Natalie's giving you your help here. You guys, you did make it to the state tournament?
We made it. Yeah, I
Okay.
was.
How many goals in one game for Natalie Darwitz?
I don't even know. I don't know.
Lost count after 5.
Ran out of fingers.
We always we were just that team. My first year in it, we went to the state championship and we lost to Hibbing. And then from there on out, we could not get out of
Those darn northern schools.
I know,
Hello,
right?
guys, come join.
From
sit,
there,
talk
we never moved on the right side of the bracket. We always
Okay.
we always were consolation champs.
Hey,
We were-
hockey. That's all right.
yeah,
It's better than no champs at all.
I know,
mean,
but it was.
I mean, is it,
I
though?
still lose sleep over it. Obviously,
if you would have just scored 6 goals, I mean, it might have put
I
you
don't
guys
know
over
what
the
I
edge.
was thinking or what I ate
You
before the
needed
game.
a Chrissy
but
Wendell on your team.
Yeah.
Probably.
that would have helped.
Would have helped. Park, screw Park. Come play Egan, classic. Obviously I want to talk women's hockey and how far it has come. You're obviously a shining example of that. But I mean, just talk about even the recent Olympics, which unfortunate for the U.S. team to
Those darn Canadians.
I mean, what did you make of that game? Because U.S. looked different than and it is kind of a new team, a new identity with some of those pillars that had been on there forever. I mean, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, certainly the women's girls game has grown exponentially. I think if you look back when Chrissy Wendell was scoring 8 goals a game, she was on the ice for all but 2 shifts, I think. But now there's depth in the game where, 2 weekends ago, you just saw a phenomenal showcase of women's hockey between Andover and Minnetonka. It was just a back and forth game, the depth of the game. And then obviously you're seeing that at the college level right now. And then it keeps climbing the ladder for the Olympic level. Unfortunately, I think Canada they got good at the right time. And that was going into February and the USA, unfortunately, we're kind of stagnant, I think, in the Olympics. But again, good representation from Minnesota players. I think there's 5 Olympians, maybe even more. I could be wrong, for Minnesota, and just a great representation of that and where the sport is going and honestly where it could go. I think in 4 more years, I think it just should be even better with more parity, more teams. And it's just really exciting to see because it's where it should be, and it needs. And I think you podcasts like you guys promoting women's hockey, the Wild doing such a great job with Girls Hockey Weekend and promoting it, and Tria Rink over there, and D3 is getting better. I just think it's just going to grow in the Whitecaps and stuff like that. So I think it's just sky's the limit. It's just can we get some resources behind it,
Right.
and some attention behind it, because it was proven during the Olympics if you put it on TV, people will.
Yes. How
watch
many
it.
people tuned in and watched it? It's
people will watch
insane.
it.
Yes.
Probably the same for the state high school tournament.
Yeah.
People will watch it.
Yeah.
If it's on TV and it's Friday night and you want to order a pizza and you're flipping through the channels, you will stop and watch it. And
Yeah.
that's proven.
Exactly. Again, we are the Bar Down Beauties podcast. I'm Jessie Pierce. She's Lex Pearson. More importantly, she's Natalie Darwitz. We are here all day talking hockey. Feel free to swing on by. Say hello, ask some questions, say hi to Natalie, say what's up. You talked about your boys. Are you coaching them? Because I know you and I had talked about the need for more female coaches and the need for more female coaches in the men's game and in the boys' game. I mean, how's that going, and how do we kind of change that narrative and get more women involved in that aspect?
Absolutely. I am coaching.
Love it.
So there's 5 in Mite 1 and Prior Lake. There's 5 Mite teams. One's an all-girl team. No female coaches on that team. It's coached by all dads.
Yep.
There is another female out there of she has a son. So there's 2 females on the entire rink.
Yeah.
And there just needs to be more.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable, right? It's like everyone just assumes the dad goes out there, the dad coaches. But I think it's awesome that little boys come up to me and they don't know the difference between me and their dad. I'm their coach.
Yeah.
I just think that's so cool. It's not necessarily the kids knowing it. It's they just want to be out there with somebody who wants to have fun with them and grow and teach them.
First of all, I would love to see a dad try to come up to you and be like, no, I think I'm going to coach this. I played junior goal once upon a time. Like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's pretty fun. But in all honesty, like the other dads I'm out there with, they're great. And it usually comes about like, hey, I played for Jefferson, and I played you when you were a peewee. So it actually comes full circle. Like another dad I coached with was like, hey, yeah, I remember playing against you in a tournament or something like that. So
I think Zach Parisi said that one time too. You remember playing against you?
Yeah, we played with and against each other. So that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool if I was making his salary, but
that's what we're working towards. That's what we're working towards. So do you find it funny where, like you said, where I'm sure a lot of the kids you coach with your kids being so little still have no idea how freaking awesome you are. But do you find that with the parents, like having, this like ton of respect for you and realizing like, wow, my kids are getting coached by somebody who really, really not only understands this game, but has succeeded at this game at many different levels?
I hope so. Honestly, it's mites. So my job is honestly keep them in line and just not have them cross-check each other over the head. Yeah. So I'm not really doing a whole lot of like coaching, but I am trying to with what I can, like, hey, bend your knees, chest up. Like this could help you. That could help you.
Yeah.
But I guess I fully can't showcase my coaching abilities with mites.
Yeah.
I'm just doing my best I can to keep them.
Hey, sit down and let me show you something
exactly,
real quick.
Right? I'll demo drills and it's funny, no other coach or parent wants to do the Superman rollover exercise. It's always like, okay, I'll do it. And then I get like, oh, I'm going to be sore tomorrow if I do that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's a lot of fun. And hopefully as my sons get older and I get more immersed into their hockey growing up, I want their hockey to be about them.
Right.
Yes.
But at the same time, if I can impact or help that association or the team I'm on the ice with, certainly I want to do that.
So, I always love asking people who played the sport at a high level and then who either went on to coach or do something in front office or whatever. And again, I know you're coaching little kids, so it's much different than if you were coaching, NHLers or professional women's hockey. But did you find it tough to make that transition, from being at such a high level and then trying to translate that into teaching other people how to play the game? Was it tough for you?
I think it challenged me. I think if you ask probably my past teammates, one of my qualities was hockey IQ.
Yeah.
I could shoot, I could skate, fairly decent, but I think I was able to read
so humble.
play.
Like I was okay. You were extraordinary at all of those things, ladies and gentlemen.
But it was then translating like the hockey IQ to communicating my vision to
Right.
you.
Because everyone has a different vision too.
Everyone has a different vision, or like this player could be super skilled and can skate like the wind down the ice, but he or she has no idea where to be in the play. So it's communicating that. So it was quite honestly it was more of a healthy challenge for me to how do I have this light bulb in their head go off?
Yeah.
For them to get it in like, boom, translate it to on the ice and into a game. So that's the part of coaching I love is giving them that vision and then them executing it and seeing it happen.
Yeah.
So that's why I love coaching. And quite honestly, I coach all different, even though I'm at University of Minnesota and I get to coach high level athletes who can pick it up like that. I do private small group lessons and with a lot of age ranges. And then I'm on the ice with mites who it's just simply like, can you get down the ice without falling or crashing into the board?
Yeah. So is that tough kind of going between, like we've been talking here about coaching your little kids, but then you've got college athletes as well and kind of everything in between. And how do you flip that switch from, okay, I'm dealing with, 18, 19, 20-year-olds to 5-year-olds?
Are you doing the same rollover drill with any of your college players at all? Are you like, all right, guys, this is what we need to do?
It was awesome. Actually, a few days ago, we wanted to transition at the Gopher practice from just an exercise to all pucks in the net. And this honestly worked. I go, ladies, you have 10 seconds to get all the pucks in the net. They did it.
Nice.
Really? Yes, they did it. They took it seriously. And I counted down from 10 to 1. And I was like, I looked to my other coach and I was like, I didn't think that would work on college kids.
Right.
But they're so intense that they're like, let's not waste time.
Yeah.
And so that was like a really cool moment for me to go like, our college girls could have thought that was super cheesy in elementary, but they were like, nope, we want to get on to the next exercise. Boom, let's go.
Yeah.
So I like to say like I'm doing mite stuff with college kids and I can do college kids with mite stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and then this brings me, and I did an article, shout out USA Hockey Magazine, if you want to go read it, about coaching men and women, right? And how it actually is different coaching females versus males, not just for your, what people might assume, not for stereotypical reasons, but like because women listen just better. And I know, yes, you can make well, of course they do jokes, but they take everything so incredibly literal, right? Where sometimes that could be a challenge too to coach as well.
Absolutely. I do a 3-day clinic at Trier Rink just across the street, boys and girls, because that's how I grew up.
Yes.
And it's so cool because the girls will literally I'll be like, hey, go to this cone, do this. Yeah. They'll go right there, do everything I just said. The boys will be like shooting pucks at center ice, and I got to corral them. But then the cool thing is the boys will naturally, like, they're not be afraid to look silly and like make the head fakes. And the stuff you like see Kirill do or like the NHLers do that they do in their sleep. Like they'll do, and the girls will be like, oh, that's silly. I don't want to do that. It's like, no. That's part of the game.
Right.
And so there's so many things they can learn from each other. And that's why I love having boys and girls on the ice together, because they just bring different qualities and strengths that they both need. And if they're with each other, they can provide. And as a player, I don't think growing up, I would have been as successful as a hockey player as I was if I didn't start with the boys.
Love that. That's a great perspective.
So to me, I learned a lot from that, and I took it over to the girls game. And then I learned a lot from, okay, now I'm playing with girls that they do this better. And I learned from that. So I was super lucky and that's why I just love girls and boys on the ice together until a certain age. I just think it's beneficial for both.
I think that's fair. Again, we are the Bar Down Beauties podcast. New episodes released every Monday. We've had Natalie on at least once.
Yeah, way back. It was way back when.
Early
I think it was quarantine days. Quarantine days.
Things were weird.
I think you're right. Yeah,
things were weird.
But so Natalie Darwitz joining us right now. We've got guests swinging through all day. I am going to need a Matamidi Warroad score check, please. Anybody? Still 4-4. Killing me. All right.
What period?
Third, I think.
How much time?
Overtime? Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
Jesse's going to pee your pants.
The next two teams are like not overtime. The next game, the 1 o'clock game is like.
What a start off our Friday. I have to say, I think today's games, best games, hands down, right? Like, no question.
Best day of the tournament today.
Best day of the tournament. You get out of school, you just come hang out. It's
not Natalie's kids, though. They don't get out of school.
Natalie's kids are in school getting an education. Prior Lake is not, no messing around there.
Oh, boy.
I see Glenn Andreessen over there. He's getting ready to follow up on Natalie Darwitz. Oh, he's kicking you out, Natalie.
He's giving us the producer wrap-up call.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got time. He can wait. Glenn Andreessen of Minnesota Hockey will be joining us after Natalie when she's done. When she says,
let her have her moment in the sun, Glenn.
But again, if you guys have questions, we have questions. How many of you watch Natalie play all the time? Yeah?
Got a stick raise over there. He's got a cool is that a Minnesota Wild stick? Autographed.
Nice.
Wow. Love it.
Nice.
Natalie, I got to ask you, with all the different levels you coach and age groups you coach, what would you say is the toughest thing to teach somebody across all age levels? Whether that's skating or stick handling or shooting, what do you find can be the toughest to click in the brains of hockey players?
Would you recommend them to Andy Ness, our guest just before you, for skating if you need them to?
Yeah, obviously Andy is one of the best in the business at what he does. Andy and his mom, Diane, used to, when I was with the 2010 Olympic team, they worked with us. Yeah. And I remember when they came on the ice a couple of times, they had us do some skills. And I literally was like, I don't know, I suck as a hockey player. I don't know why I'm here.
I'm questioning my career right now.
I literally was. I was like, I don't know what a mohawk is. I can't do it. I'm terrible. But those guys are certainly best in the business and make your game so much better. And I've learned a lot from them in my short time working under them or getting skated with them and stuff like that. So they're awesome. I would say the hardest, I think we're in the generational times where a lot of players can get the shooting skills, the skating skills, the stick handling skills. That's at our disposal. Mm-hmm. I think the hardest thing to teach is the pond hockey mentality, the instinct, the hockey IQ. There's a lot of times when I either was previously at Hamlin or even at the U now, I like to hop into drills or small games to see what the players are thinking, seeing. Right. And there's times where I'm like, I'm waiting for the pass it to him. It's like, jump into that area.
Yeah.
I think that's the most challenging thing to try to teach is the hockey IQ, where to be, when to be on the ice. So because it's not black and white.
Well, and like you said, it's because it doesn't seem like they're out there maybe doing the pond hockey moves, right? Like that's where you learn the game is the unstructured play and just getting out there, right? I mean, do you think there are less and less kids maybe doing those types of things, and that's why you're not seeing it. I mean, Kirill, he's not practicing that necessarily. He's just out there playing around half the time. I mean, that's what needs to happen, right? Is the unstructuredness.
He's what, $160 if he's lucky. I mean, the guy's not like a
little
beast,
bulldog,
you know.
yeah.
But he's the guy out of the corner with the puck. And if you probably ask him where he learned that, it was probably
I have, and he's like, I don't know, I just do it. He's like, what do you mean? He like is so confused. He's like, what do you mean? I don't practice? And he like looks at me like I'm an idiot. I'm like, okay, sir.
But he probably came out of the corner with the puck when he was playing all the time because that's the one thing he's known. Mm-hmm. And I think so often we can you got to shoot harder, you got to skate faster. But who can come out of the corner with the puck and then make a play to the net or be in the right spot to get that pass? So I think that's the gray area stuff is the hardest stuff to teach. Mm-hmm. Whereas skating, shooting, and stick handling is pretty black and white to me.
And do you think hockey IQ, I think there's a lot of people out there that would argue you can't really teach hockey IQ. You either have it or you don't. And obviously you can enhance it for those that have an inkling of it. But what would you say about that? I mean, do you think that there's players who are just born with that naturally and it comes to them naturally when they start? Or is it something that you can maybe not have and be taught later in your hockey career?
Yeah, I think that's a mixed answer. I think if you're lucky enough to have that stuff come to you, God gifted, yes, for sure. But I think you can also learn that stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, if we can look back and go, certain players weren't the best skater, the best shooter, but guess what? They were always scoring goals.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And those are the players that get where to be. Like Brett Hull wasn't like the best skater. Like he just hung out in the high slot and knew when to dive down.
He was just in the crease.
That too. Yes. He just would score illegal goals in the Stanley Cup finals. But it works.
They cut their work.
It works.
They cut their workload in half by knowing where to be at the right time. Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah.
One of the smartest players, I think, in the Minnesota kid, Jake Gensel. I think his hockey IQ is on parallel. And that's why he's as good, and that's why he plays with Sidney Crosby so well. Is he just has this vision. And I another plug did a story on him too. Go check it out on USA Hockey. But he had mentioned it's because obviously with his dad, Mike Gensel, coaching, he watched games constantly. He just loved to be around the game and watch and kind of learn the game that way. And I mean, I think that's something kids really need to do right at every level, is just really pay attention to why these guys are kind of moving there, And
that's why the pun hockey mentality is so important. 3-on-3 games are so important just because that's where you get it. Yeah. And Jake Gensel is I was trying to think of when I was talking. That is a great example. Again, if you saw him sitting in the stands here, probably wouldn't think he was a professional hockey player.
Right. True.
Just by his physique, but he just gets it done because of this thing,
Right.
So
hockey players, you need to be smart too.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe it's good that your kids are in school. They're getting an education. They're gonna be smart.
How are you gonna get that hockey IQ without staying in school?
I will not let them. They're gonna come home from school, and I'm gonna literally play YouTube hockey scoring videos to make up for this.
I love it. Well, Natalie, you are the very best. Best of luck against the Bulldogs tomorrow. Super excited. I'll cheer on the Gophers against the Bulldogs.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
I won't even lie about it. Go Gophers. There we go. Yeah, and we are the Bar Down Beauties podcast. Natalie Darwitz, thank you so much. You're the best, and we'll see you in the championship for the women's hockey.
I hope so. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back.